I have just rushed in here to record as quickly as possible because Nintendo have finally announced the Switch 2. Not with a big flashy direct like we hoped, but they've shadow dropped a trailer onto YouTube. And I just want to get into this right now because I am so excited. I've been waiting for this for so long. I have not watched it yet. This is just straight away. Let's see. Oh, there's the old boy. Okay. Bigger screen like we thought. I think those leaks are true, boys and girls. Yep, it's all there. That U kickstand there. Ooh, that can go flat. That's cool. Whew. I mean, I am surprised that that's there, but yeah, it's no real surprise that all of this is here. That's interesting. Okay. It looks cool. It's slick as hell. It can be used as a mouse. That is what it is. It can be used as a mouse. Okay. Okay. And it is the Switch 2, and that is the logo. That, okay, there's more. There's more. Mario Kart. Is that Mario Kart 9? Oh my god, he looks cool. Oh! Oh, he's so different looking. But in the best ways, it's so little. Yes, backwards compatibility confirmed. That's fantastic. 4th of Feb. 4th of Feb! Let's go! Oh, yes! Hands-on events around the world. I am going to have to try and get to one of them. If you couldn't tell, I am super excited. I am now going to calm down. And then I am going to do a trailer breakdown because there's some things I noticed straight away in there that I really want to point out. Yeah, I'm going to go calm down and then I am going to get back in here and break that trailer down. Now that I've significantly calmed down, let's take a look through the trailer that was released and see if we can see anything, because the first watch round, I noticed a couple of things, and then I've rewatched it a couple of times and I've noticed a few more things. So we're going to go over that, and I've also seen what some other people are saying, so we're going to delve into some of that as well. So first we're showing the old Switch that then transforms into the larger Switch with a much bigger screen, and the screen bezel is a little bit disappointing, which is not too bad. It could be worse. And then we continue to see the transformations. We see the 2 USB ports that were leaked, USB-C ports. We see that U-shaped kickstand that was leaked as well. And there's been a lot of discussion of why they went with a U-shaped kickstand, and I've not seen anybody say that, as weird as it sounds, that is pretty space-saving. By not having that big sort of rectangular panel, you are getting a couple more millimeters, and that might not seem like much, but that could be the difference between another 10 or 20 minutes battery life, or just airflow to cool the console better. So that's why I think they've gone with that sort of shaped kickstand, because they want a sturdy stand like the OLED, but they don't want it to take up as much real estate as the OLED's kickstand. So that's why I think they've gone with a U shape. And we can also see that it goes super flat, just like the OLED, which is cool. And then we go onto the Joy-Cons, and just like the leaks, they are bigger and slightly rounder, a bit more bubbly. And there is that extra C button that has been leaked, rumoured, and speculated about. Now, with the buttons that are on there, it it can't really be a capture button because we have the capture button there already. We've got the home button and the capture button from the Switch that's already there. I did see somebody suggest that it could be a cast button, and we may be able to cast wirelessly to the dock. Now, more on the dock later that may slightly back up that theory, sort of. But moving on from there, pretty standard fare. Hopefully there are going to be Hall effect joysticks. Now, this is pretty interesting because when you see that orange sort of leak over the base of the joystick, and then later you see the joystick move, that's actually a cap that covers that bottom area of the joystick. And I've not really seen, certainly not seen a cap that big over a joystick like that. So, yeah, that's strange. And then, as before, we're seeing the orange and the blue that was leaked previously. If you've not seen any of those leaks, basically they were all right. They were all essentially this. And just there, paused right at the right time, we can see a small, what appears to be optical sensor, which can be found in the bottom of a mouse. And we're going to get onto that in a second. So there you can see again, it covers the joystick at the base there. And there are the Joy-Cons. And here, if you notice here, when you see the Joy-Con move, the blue bit doesn't move. You can see there that that sort of covers the housing. Yeah, a little weird. Essentially, that means they're smaller joysticks, but with a bigger real estate for the thumb to press, which is strange. Let's move on to that. And then here we go. So we hear that classic sort of switch snap, and it goes into this sort of shoe. I guess you probably call it a skate, as it allows the controllers to glide across a surface, backing up the theory that they could be used as a computer mouse. We see them both gliding along there. Previously, we hadn't actually seen the optical sensor on the right Joy-Con, only on the left. So now we've got confirmation that it's on both, and it comes with these little skates here. These may also double up as the bar that the original Switch had that allowed for bigger shoulder buttons, but we'll see if that's the case. And of course, again, it's magnetically snapping. Moving on from there, we see them jump out of those skates there, and we see them just sort of glide off on their own. I'm not sure how those skates are going to work. I don't know if it's going to have like a sort of oval of felt, or whether it's just going to be plastic, because that's going to get rubbed up pretty bad. I imagine there's going to be third-party peripherals that use those that will make them a bit chunkier, so a bit more like a computer mouse. But moving on from there, this is a little detail that wasn't leaked. The images of the Switch 2 that we saw during the leak had this inner section as black. So here we see that inner section is actually blue to match the blue Joy-Con. And this is probably not just an aesthetic choice, but a design choice so that smaller children don't get mixed up with which side which Joy-Con connects to. And we can also see the connector there as well. This worries me a little bit, I must admit. I don't think the Joy-Cons are going to pop out. People think, we're going to put pressure on the Joy-Cons, and it's not going to happen. I think there's going to be enough tension with that lip that even without the magnets, that isn't going to happen. We can also see just at the top there that they're still using the minus and the plus sort of identifiers. I'm assuming that's what that is. That's going to be the minus, and we're going to get a plus on the other side. We might see that. See? Yes, and there it was. There was the plus. So yeah, they're still using the plus-minus identifiers, which is fair enough. That's pretty cool. And it actually matches up with where the plus and minus buttons are on the console. So that's pretty effective. I mean, yeah, I think it looks great. I think it looks really cool. I think it's slick. It's different enough. I've seen people say that the market is going to be confused by this product, that there's going to be an effect like the Wii U had, where people didn't really understand if it was a new console or a controller or what. Even I was confused with the Wii U back in the day when it was announced at E3. I did not know what that was because they didn't show the console, they just showed the controller. I think it was 3 or 4 days later, they did show the console to try and alleviate that confusion, but I think it just lasted. I don't think we're in the same place now. We've had generations of iPhones pretty much looking the exact same, and people understand that the iPhone is iterative. People understand that it's a new year, it's a new device. And then we've also had, 5 generations of PlayStation home consoles now that have just used numbering. People are going to understand what this is. I can't see that there's going to be many people confused. I think it's going to be parents that aren't gamers and their 10-year-olds trying to convince them, oh, the Switch, it's better, it's blah, blah, blah. That's where the confusion's going to come, but that confusion was always there, and that confusion was always going to be there. So that doesn't concern me with this console. I don't think that market confusion's going to be there at all. But now, we move on to the most exciting bit, because if you've been following these leaks, you've seen all of this. But what we haven't seen is Mario Kart. And straight away, please tell me you can see how different Mario and Luigi look, and it's not just me. Like, he's chunkier and smaller. It looks like more like Mario before he gets the mushroom power up in maybe 3D World or 3D Land. But he just seems to be a bit chunkier and a bit smaller, and so does Luigi. They just have a slight new look about them. Graphically, it's hard to tell in this particular shot. I think Mario Kart has never been the most graphically intensive game. It's always been more about performance. So I don't think Mario Kart's the best showcase to see if this is at PS4 level power or beyond that, which I don't think it is. I think it's going to be around PS4, which I'm fine with, and you should be fine with. But yeah, moving on, we get a good look at that dock, and it does have the more curved shape that was rumoured, but not as curved as some mock-ups would have led you to believe. So moving on from there, we snap into the Joy-Con holder that turns it into a sort of standalone control. Now, I've just noticed here a little bit that those joysticks kind of look like they're glowing. I just think it's the lighting, but they do look to be the same sort of luminescence as the green lights. So maybe they light up. I don't think so. I don't think they do, but a little strange there. And continuing looking at Mario Kart, I mean, Donkey Kong? It's crazy because I was talking with a friend not that long ago, probably 4 to 6 months ago, how Donkey Kong's design has not changed since Donkey Kong Country. It's been relatively the exact same design, just with improved graphical spec. So I am really happy with that design. I think it looks great. I've seen people say it's a little creepy, it's a little weird. I from these initial images, I really love it. I think it looks great. And it's a much needed design improvement. It looks more like classic Donkey Kong before the design we have now, pre-Donkey Kong Country. So I'm really, really happy with that, if that's going to be the design moving forward. It may also be a sign that Nintendo are sort of reclaiming Donkey Kong, and they're going to be using him in more projects that aren't going to be sort of outsourced. Like Donkey Kong Country was obviously a Rareware game. Then DK64, Rareware, and then after that we got the Donkey Konga games, which I don't believe were made in-house at Nintendo. And then of course the latest Donkey Kong Country games were also not in-house with Nintendo. So maybe this is Nintendo sort of reclaiming the character, who knows. But moving on, we get to see a little bit more of Mario Kart, and I have seen people speculate that this is open world. And I can kind of see it from this shot. I really can kind of see it. Maybe this Yoshi's Burger place that we can see here is a kind of checkpoint and a meetup spot for online play, possibly even to refuel or to upgrade or to change cart or character whilst in the open world map. We see there at the end quite a lot of characters, and I think with a quick count, 14 characters, maybe 12 to 14 that I can see there. However, if we rewind back to the very beginning of that trailer, just there, the track positions show 4 rows of 6, so possibly 24 racers, which is the biggest amount any Mario Kart game has had, and it makes sense with the roster of characters that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe brought to the series. I would be surprised if we weren't looking at a similar roster than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I really hope we get other Nintendo characters in there, like Link and Villager, Isabelle, Inkling. I hope those characters return, and I hope maybe we get Kirby, maybe even Samus. That would be, I think, really, really cool. I mean, I think the graphics are definitely different. I think there is an improvement to the graphics there. It doesn't look like a huge leap, but I think there's definitely a significant enough improvement. But what I have noticed is if we watch this segment here, just take a look at Mario's face and the way it bounces and moves. There is a lot more animation going on here on the characters. You can see just there, just right at that end, when he goes over, there's a lot more bounce and stretch going on. Maybe that's just me, but I really think there is. Sort of here as well, the way he puffs out his cheeks and like sort of blows air. Sort of... I think we're seeing some changes here, and I think it's going to be great. And of course, we end with confirmation that it is this year, 2025, which we kind of sort of knew already. Would have been very surprised if it wasn't this year. But there we go, confirmation 2025. This has been causing a little bit of controversy. I've already seen a few TikToks, a few Instagram reels of people complaining that it's not fully backwards compatible. Let's cast our minds back to when the PS5 was announced. That said the same thing about PS4 games. It said that not all PS4 games would be compatible, and they released a list of about 20 PS4 games that weren't compatible, most of which were third party and early on in the PS4's life cycle. So it must have been using some sort of system or engine or something that wasn't able to be carried over to the PS5. And I really believe that's going to be the case with the Switch 2. I really think that it's going to be very few games, most of which are probably indie titles that have long since lost support on the eShop, and those are the games that maybe aren't going to carry over or aren't going to play too well. But we will see, we will live and see, but I really believe there's nothing to worry about with this. I think it's going to be absolutely fine. So moving on from that, we get confirmation of a Nintendo Direct. Now, in my excited state, I read this as European, so 4th of February 2025. And it unfortunately isn't. It's the 2nd of April 2025, which is a bit of a bummer when I thought it was going to be in 2 weeks, and it's not going to be in 2 weeks. It's going to be in 3 months, just over 3 months. But there is a bit of significance with that 3 months, because if we think back to when the Switch was announced, that was October 2016. Yes, it was that long ago. And they followed up with a Direct in January of 2017, showcasing the console in full and the games that were coming to it. And that was around about 3 months after the initial trailer announcement. Now, what's interesting with that is if they follow that pattern, the Switch launched around 3 months after the Direct. Direct in January, Switch launched in April, around about 3 months. So, if they're going to follow that pattern, we could be seeing the Switch 2 released June, more likely July, around about 3 months after, which kind of fits with the rumours, although I saw a lot of rumours and a lot of leaks that were saying March, April release, which I always thought it was going to be more May, June, but we may be looking more June, July. But that's kind of fine. That's pretty cool. It does feel like we've known about this for a long time. And then they also announced a hands-on event. Now, I was fortunate enough to go to the hands-on event for the original Switch, and I got to play the Switch months before it released, and that was really great, a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm hoping to go to this one, and of course, now that I'm doing YouTube videos, I'm hoping to document as much of it as I am allowed to, and to give you my thoughts and opinions on it. So I am going to try and get access to this event as soon as I am able, and hopefully I'll be going there and I will be checking that out. So I think that is pretty much everything that I noticed in the trailer. Actually, there is one more thing I noticed, and it's to do with the dock, and to do with that button that may be a cast button. Now, it's hard to get a decent view at the dock, and I think they've released some images. So let me try and bring up those images now. So here we have VGC with an image gallery, and this top image here, if you can see on this bottom right hand side just here, there is a little indent, just a small indent on the back. Now that might be absolutely nothing, but there was a leaked image that showed the back of the dock, and on that side there was a fan vent. So this is a pretty warped image of the dock, but as we can see down here, which obviously this is the dock flipped over, so it's the opposite side now, there does appear to be ventilation for a fan, and there does appear to be more ventilation. Initially, I believed this to be additional fans whilst the console was docked to cool the system further, as maybe in docked it overclocks a little bit, and that's how we're going to push them 4K upscaled resolutions. I don't think we're going to be seeing 60 FPS on this. Maybe with some games, like I think Smash Bros Prioritize is 60 FPS. I'm fairly certain the Switch Smash Bros, or maybe the Wii U Smash Bros, runs at 60 FPS. It could be both, but one of them runs at 60 FPS, and it sacrifices things to do that. So maybe some gameplay. I think as standard, we're looking at 30. And I think that's perfectly fine for this console. But it could be some internal things to allow that C button on the joystick to work as a cast system. Now, we're not going to know until the 2nd of April, probably, but it's fun to think about. That's the Switch 2. Finally, after months of leaks, it has been announced. We've seen it. We're excited. Some of us more excited than they probably have any right to be. So I'm going to be following the Switch 2 very closely. I'm hoping to be making a lot of videos and a lot of these breakdowns and a lot of speculation. And once we get our hands on the console, I'm going to do some analysis, look at the games, theorize all through the console's life. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and you would like to go on that journey with me, a very special, magical journey. And if you do, please consider subscribing. If you like this video, then do leave a like and comment. Let me know, were you underwhelmed by the Switch's announcement, overwhelmed by its announcement, or were you just whelmed? Let me know, and I will catch you guys in the next one, if you're there.